Back everyone to Forge of Champions. It's been a long night. We've had a couple of pauses, we have a couple of breaks, but this game wasn't long at all.
No, it's probably the shortest game we've had today. Barrage looked commanding throughout. They never took their feet off of the gas, and then they rammed it right into the base looking for all.
They went full Fast and Furious, and you know, like the later movies where they got really self-aware, got really fun. You got like
the ones with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in them.
Yeah, that's the one everyone loves. You know,
I still remember one where he's in the hospital, he sees it on the news, flexes his arm, and his cast breaks off.
Yeah, no,
I got work to do. And that's Artorias in the last game after he realizes he's the only person losing. He just goes, I got work to do. Takes off the weighted armor and then smashes Blue.
And I gotta say, looking for Org, after a loss like this, where it's not only the gold lead with which you lose, but it's more about the way that you lose as well. Because it felt to me like Barrage was just choking them out right from the beginning of the game, where we saw some early game trades, and then once Karthus got the double kill, they just never stopped rolling.
They just kind of had to wait for what Barrage were doing because they could never engage themselves. They just had to respond to Barrage's plays. And being reactive like that, they could never really get any kind of tempo advantage. They always ended up walking from tower to tower, responding, clearing a wave too late, losing tower damage to the point where I was convinced at one point that they had Baron buff like 18 minutes into the game because they were just going lane to lane, taking towers. And I was convinced they had Baron buff, but I was like, no, it's 18 minutes and they're just that commanding in their map rotations that they're outplaying them.
So, the question now becomes, we've seen only 3 game series thus far. Are we going to see Looking for Org turn it around there, as is thus far what has always happened? Because to me, my question is, how are they going to do that?
Here's the question for everybody at home. What is stronger, the Curse or Barrage?
No, a warship.
A warship or a Curse?
I gotta say a warship, right? Like that, especially is one of the cool warships where they got like airplanes as well, so you can just.
So an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. I'm not
I mean, if they play Corki, I'll give you it.
Oh, that would be something. That's the only way that they guarantee wins.
Yeah. That's the only way we can break the curse if Barrage listen to us. We'll see.
And Barrage recognized well. Last time we could first pick your out, this time we can't. So we're banning it away. Is Akali also taking up the table, and Morgana this time banned by Looking for Org, even though it didn't work out as well for them. In the end, it wasn't enough, and we see that the Riv and the Karthus also taken off the table, and mind you, Kisuke now playing for Looking for Org.
Yeah, subbing back in their main mid laner, so perhaps a different look can come through. We're not sure what sort of role Kisuke has on the team, but Greenish, the manager, having to sub in last game, still performed decently on that safe Morgana mid lane pick, but couldn't really have an impact, you have to say.
And like you said, he did okay, but that's not what you're llooking for. Yeah. And
I mean, she performed admirably for a sub. You have to say that. The fact that you could shrug off the fact that she was a sub and not even realize.
I'm getting a little bit flustered. There's a whiteboard that production just placed, and I'm very awkward when it comes to certain situations. As the Nautilus and the Rek'Sai get locked in.
Is the production room basically our own version of Twitch chat, where they're all just beaming over here?
It kind of feels like it at times, and this is also
just
something that's
what's happening.
For
me
look
personally, to our left, and we see a whiteboard that says Chronicler is very handsome.
Can we move on to?
They're not wrong.
Yeah, no, like please don't. As we see the guys, the Galio
Spam
getting
one in the chat if you think he's handsome. Thank you.
At least it's better than Turbo 30. That was something else. As Kraimel locks in, or that's Kraimel, but Zaya gets locked in once again. Jakamaka, great performance last time, really safe pick, and the Nautilus this time making it through pick and ban. And I gotta say, Nautilus is just so incredibly strong right now.
So how do I say his name again? It sounds like I'm saying caramel, but I swallow my tongue halfway through.
Kraimel.
Kraimel.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Kraimel.
So yeah, I have to sound like I'm saying caramel, but swallow my tongue halfway through the word.
It means scrum.
Okay, so he had a decent game last game. Just the Karma got to high stacks on the Magi's. I believe he ended up finishing the game on 25.
Yeah.
So
got a death cap at like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. So he's pretty happy to just play the utility if he needs to, but still having a strong performance on it. We know he was known for his Orianna in the UKLCs, so he's happy to just support his team with whatever's needed. Not really known for his more aggressive picks anyway.
And with the Nautilus as well, I really wouldn't mind. Like, you can play that in the mid lane, you can play it support, you can play it in the top lane. There's still so many ways. There's the Vladimir and the Jace also getting taken off now. And Looking for Org. They go for comfort once again. We see the Kaiser there and the Galio that we saw last time. And I think that the Galio Cataclysm combo is one that's, of course, very strong. And if they hadn't fallen so far behind in the last early game, that might have actually been a good tool for them to come back. But the deficit was so big that as the cannon finally gets taken off the board, it was a rough game for Looking for Org.
It was incredibly rough. They could just barely keep up with the map rotations of Barrage. And
once again, yeah.
Now they've got a lot more engage potential, like Barrage have. They've got even harder engage potential than the last time around. Last time it was very much just run at them and try and catch an individual member. This is hard, like Rakan engage, followed by Rek'Sai getting into the back lane, even just all being preceded by Nautilus just landing a hook on someone.
And I feel like that is really the deciding factor here, because of course the Rek'Sai and the Rakan already available. Rek'Sai now able to follow up with Void Rush, but Nautilus, especially once he gets through in early, like for the early game, it's not bad, but he just doesn't do as much, not as tanky yet. But then once he reaches the mid game, once he reaches the team fight stage, so much he's seen. If we see him build, hold up, we get an that's on the wrong team. That's the wrong team with a Corki Sin.
They're trying to curse the game.
It's the wrong team.
The curse is stronger.
I gotta respect that from Looking for Org. That's a power play right there, making sure that we're not going to see a top lane Nautilus with a mid lane Corki. That opportunity is taken away for Barrage, as instead it's going to be Kisuke who now picks up the scaling mid laner, and the late game for Looking for Org here looking quite scary.
Okay, so this is actually going to be likely going to the top lane in the Nautilus. It could still be Victor top lane, there is a small possibility. But I like the idea of going the Nautilus top lane and just winning out 1v1, becoming a big tank, and having the Victor mid. So I'm not sure I think it's not tanky enough of a composition. It's not like you go in too hard, you get insta-popped by the turnaround of like a Galio plus a Jarvan plus a Poppy. So I think I think this should stick to be what it is at the 20-second mark when timer runs out. But the double cleanse, respecting the potential of the taunts, respecting the potential stuns from Poppy, and it's just trying to get as much out of that summoner spell as possible, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe we're going to see, I mean, on the Victor it'd be a little bit more nothing. Maybe we're going to see Kruimel go for that Unsealed spell once again, as he seemed to favour that last time on the Karma. And yeah, a full tank Artorias means that once we reach later stage of the game, there's going to be so much upfront engagement for Barrage. But I've got to say, I like the composition of Looking for Org as well, because last time they lost when they felt really far behind early game. This time, though, if they're able to not have that happen and not get bullied so much early on, you got to imagine that with the composition that they've reached a mid-game in a comfortable status.
Double AD carry, Galio plus the Jarvan. That's an awesome combo with 280 carries to buy space to do damage into the cereal bowl.
Poppy to make sure that stay away.
Poppy, you can even just make sure that nobody dashes out of the bowl as well. It's just,
keep them all in there.
It's pretty disgusting in terms of what you can do if you get to those later stages, but it's a case of they can't let themselves slip out of the game like they did last time. They spent so much of the game behind that they never had any kind of lead or tempo advantage. And we need to see what they can do with a lead rather than just what they look like when they're that far behind, because you don't really get to play League when you're that far behind.
We didn't really see Looking for Org, right? We just saw a team that, like you said, early on they fell behind, and then there was never an opportunity for them to get back.
It's the kind of scrims you hear about where somebody just goes, okay, this is over, let's go next. After like 10 minutes in, when they were already 4K down, but we were forced to watch how that played out anyway. When the early game goes horribly wrong, what then happens is unfortunately the case, but with a stronger early game, perhaps they can punish Barrage, perhaps they can look more competitive.
Last time, the Jarvan early on wasn't really able to find a picks, and now he's facing the Rek'Sai, which, in my opinion, is a pretty good matchup for the Rek'Sai.
But we said that Scudzy is known for sometimes going a little bit over the top, going a little bit too hard.
There's a pick that allows you to do that. We talked about the Karthus. That's not really a possibility, but with the Rek'Sai, you definitely can, if you feel like it. Luckily for him, he got a lot of follow-up. There's a lot of mobility in engage, follow-up engage with the Nautilus and the Rakan. But Looking for Org, every single time we've seen the first game getting taken by a team, it was followed up afterwards. Ollie, I do hope you're not face-checking that brush. I really do.
Oh, no.
He does.
And the Justice Punch gets blocked. He has to flash here, surely.
And instead, he's just dead. Yeah. No, I was about to say, doesn't want to go for the flash. Face checks the brush at level 1. And that's got to be painful after seeing last game. You fell behind early. Jakamaka got a lead. And
it's just that moment, like, I guess I'll die. And then slowly walks away.
Yeah.
You saw him walking towards the wall. I think what his plan was, I'll walk towards the wall and I'll flash the wall. But just as he got close, he got ignited and went, there's no point in flashing anymore.
The block from the Justice Punch as well there.
Yeah.
Really key, because otherwise he might be able to get out. There was no real CC for Barrage.
The amazing thing there was, especially though, Fiddle didn't have to use his W. So he didn't have to go for that choice at level 1 if he didn't want to. He could start Q for poke if he wants. And it just gives him so much more choice and control of the lane.
It is a summoner downer for Barrage, so in a straight up 2v2, they need to be a little bit careful. And already we see the early trading coming through here.
He started E. I'm bewildered, I guess.
Confused?
Yeah, I'd assume it was a misclick because you want to start W to jump in, and the fact that he chose not to would surely mean that he started Q. Instead, he starts E.
Karma's positioning here means that he can just path towards his jungler and will be really greedy for Trilip to try and go for it. Scutzy now, he's taking a bit of risk. We talked about his aggression. But Ollie, once again, the heal has to be used as Fiddle and Jakamaka are putting so much pressure out. Scutzy, I think, was able to pick up the rep buff there. Not entirely sure. As we see some action coming through, and he will be able to find that. Not only that, but he also goes for the Raptors. And the early game dominance from the Rex are really being pushed here. You see Scudzy not only take the Raptors, and now he can just go for his bot side jungle, and that means a free buff start for the jungler from Barrage.
Yeah, likely to just leave one small one up and go down to the Krugs, as you can see now. And it's just going to give him so much of a camp lead when he moves over to his blue side jungle that he could just capitalize on. He's going to have an experience advantage, he's going to have a gold advantage, and we see already that he's winning out trades against Trilip.
And a big wave getting stacked here, but even then we see that Jakamaka and Fiddle last time when they got an advantage in the lane, they were able to make some big plays and a dive. It's risky, but there is definitely a possibility as they do see Scutzy there. He's making his way, and there is the taunt. Engaged on Fiddle, he gets ignited, but that's not enough. Goes in for the Grandlanders regardless, and that's a little bit over-eager there. Gets taken down by a nice play from Ollie and Harry, and Scutzy, even with him there, they couldn't turn that one around. And feel like Fiddle, he wanted to get that kill for his carry, but gets a little bit too greedy and gets taken out.
Yes, this is the 4th time now that he's jumped in too deep on this Rakan and been punished for it. And it's becoming a bit of an issue. He did it multiple times while his team was on a siege last game. This game he's cost himself and his AD carry the huge lane advantage they had. So this is something that's definitely punishable moving forward for Barrage unless they work on this issue.
At least the kill went to Ollie, not to Harry, so you're going to take that as a small but significant victory for Barrage. Graham on the mid lane. In the end, went with the teleport, which, got to say, is a choice that I like, and the Airy instead of the Unsuited Spillboard that we saw last time.
So now, just Fiddle and Jakamaka, they're still able to pressure up, even though that kill did go over, but
But it's just a punch, and the cleanse comes out, wants to make sure. And there is the engagement. Harry steps too far forward, doesn't have the flash available. And we'll get taken down by a nice flash. And Trilip, he was on his way, but he's not in time. The Justice Punch re-engaged though. And Jakamaka and Fiddle overstep and get punished appropriately as Philippe comes in. Ollie Justice Punch is the other one out. And a 2-for-1 trade there for looking for Org.
Harry still comes off on the worst of the 2 AD carries, so 3 assists, but no kills. It's the BF sword into the Kershi's shard again.
And Kasuke, he just tries to get out with the Valkyrie. The knocker does hit in the end there, and Kasuke immediately forced a flash. Has a teleport available, Scudzy needs to be careful, takes a little bit more damage, but we'll be able to get out there, and we see a lot of back and forth early trading, but the early lead that Barrage were able to secure just now has gone. It's now pretty even, a 300 gold advantage for looking for Org, as they want to make sure that this game is not going to go like the last one.
I like that Krumel now has the teleport. He switched to the teleport at the last minute. So this is important for the matchup, giving you the control, giving you the ability to keep the wave clear up and contest Corki, stop him from being able to just TP back to lane, free scale, get that CS advantage that way. So it's much more lane control this is for.
This wave positioning
this is brutal.
Poor Harry. Can't do anything, can he?
He just has to sit back and watch.
Soak XP. Feels so bad. Fortunately for him, Ollie's back in the bot lane, and that means that he can at least start to threaten something, as Ollie is fairly fed already. 2-1 and an assist under his belt as well. But it's Jakamaka and Fiddle with this constant aggression, and usually they're getting the better end of it as well. There is a sizable summoner lead now as Harry has his heal back up. But look at the gold lead here for Jakamaka this early into the game. Already 700 gold ahead. 700k, that would be something else.
It's playing practice tool at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, just go completely haywire. Just give yourself as much goals as you like. As Scudsy, he's not. He's so sneaky. The
He's
sneaky
nuts.
rat side. They don't see Trelip yet. Scudsy's still there. They haven't spotted one another. And Trelip now finally is gonna find the Rek'Sai. Doesn't even get the flag and drag off, as I imagine he's just too flabbergasted to find out that his crocs were being taken.
He just realizes he was there the whole time. Just like,
wait a minute. Wait, what? What just happened? And it could have been a really explosive bot lane play otherwise, but instead we get just the Krugs and not much else going down. As the frantic pace of the first few minutes now died down a little, and as I say that, Jakamaka gets the root on Harry, tries to get out, and Fiddle can't find the Grand Entrance, and they need to back off. But the lane will be pushing towards them, meaning that the SS advantage that we already see for Jakamaka might become bigger. Baloo getting really low, but Trelip is on his way. Finds the Poppy Copter and knocks him back. But with that flash, Artorias might be able to just get out of here. They don't want to take the risk and dive with Nautilus, especially with Kraimo and Scudsy making their way. Are they going to set up a trap for Trelip here? Is he just going to go for this Scottercrab? It looks like he does. There is the flag, but you're not going anywhere, Trelip. And the 2 versus 1, easy pick up there as Kisuke. He tries to make it work, but it's too little, too late, and a kill goes over to Barrage.
we're already seeing that looking for Org's been looking far stronger, but all the same, getting pressured out in the jungle matchup. It has been Scudsy showing up even without that Karthus pick. But I want to look at the top lane a little bit, as it's a very different kind of matchup. It's the AP Nautilus up against the tank Poppy, but all the same has been just as close, just as mechanical back and forth, as the two of them have been so close to death multiple times.
We see now the wave control from Barrage and bot lane has been so good. Look at that CS's advantage for Harry here. And he was really a big part of what we're kind of looking for with looking for Org last time. Like Baloo, he was one of the win conditions, but Harry kept picking up kills, and you might have started to wonder, are they not going to be able to find anything here? But this time, already put on the back foot so bad. As the constant harass from Fiddle and Jakamaka is really getting to him. The Cloud Dragon, once again here, on the table for Barrage.
The 30 CS lead in the bot lane at 9 minutes.
That's not great.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold in the pocket of Jakamaka that Harry simply doesn't have. And even if you can look at it here with, he's picking up the extra CS, it's still a 20 lead for Jakamaka. And he's, you know, he's come in, manifest destiny. He's proving that he is still a top contender in the UKLC, the UK leagues, because he was one of the shining lights for Barrage. Like, he performed so consistently on this roster as at least a decent member. Even in the games where they looked poor, he was still showing to be that one shining light for them. And once again, it's he's performing really well in lane. It's been Fiddle over-aggressing at times, which has cost him, but all the same, I'm enjoying this Jakamaka that did have his moments in the UK League, UKLC.
It's of course also about not giving Harry and Ollie a time to kind of recuperate from the last game.
Yeah.
Just keep the waves of pressure up. A big difference here, though, is that Kisuke on the Corki, he's not has had any difficulty so far. He's just scaling up. And a late game Corki, we all know how fast he can shred through those health bars without a real tank. But instead, Nathan Nautilus, that might be a difficult.
He's got the package.
There is the package. Their Grand Entrance isn't enough. Scudsy tries to go for it, but that might be a little bit of an overcommitted as the Flag of Record 2 does not find a knockup. There's the quickness, but we see that Scudsy gets deleted immediately. The Hero's Entrance and a beautiful play, 2-for-0 trade there from looking for Orc. You gotta imagine if Scudsy was able to actually get the Void Rush off, that might have been completely different.
And what we were saying before was, if they over-aggress even slightly, this is what happens. They get punished hard. The turn from looking for Org is what shows up. And we're speaking of Manifest Destiny. Looks like it's episode 3 for this game coming through.
I'm wrinkling my brain, but I gotta let you down there, Sin. I'm very sorry.
I hope it's not a third game because I want a UKLC team to look decisive. It's all very well and good having the competition and saying, look at how many competitive teams there are, but there should be some teams that are better than some of the Open League teams. It shows that there's a lack of consistency, a lack of decisiveness that needs to be worked on if you're going to consistently fall down to these teams that are pretty recently made.
And with the Hackstack Revolver done now, Torres trying to get some harassment. And I love the proactiveness from Barrage, but this was really the first time where we saw Oli on the Galio showing that you need to keep that in mind, that global, like semi-global ultimate, when you try and go for the aggressive engages. And with Scudzy immediately getting blown up and Fittle not able to find anything, a little bit of a miscommunication there as well in the mid lane. And we're hoping not to see more of that from Barrage, because now it's looking for Org, who have the lead. And I gotta say, with a double 80 carry league game, that is not a nice proposition. But to be fair, Barrage are no slouch in the late game either, with the CC from the Nautilus and the damage from Jakamaka and Cowboy.
And so, looking for Org does have a 1k gold lead, but I still like what Barrage can bring in the mid game. They're starting to hit that level 11 mark. This is where they need to make the plays. This is where they need to use their composition to make picks. So far, Fittle has had issues where whenever he's gone in, he's been instantly blown up. He's struggled to make those plays consistently without putting himself in danger. So now that they're starting to group up, we're seeing people can move around the map together as they move towards the dragon there. I'm hoping this is the start of good things for Barrage.
And as the pace of the game has slowed down a little bit, if you have any thoughts on this game, if you have any thoughts on your favorite type of launch, or just any other thoughts on Forge of Champions, make sure to tweet at the LVP UK or Chronicler Cast with the hashtag Forge of Champions. As there's always room here for a little bit of community interaction. Notorious, he's not a really tanky Nautilus. The Protobot gives him some health, but a 2 versus 1 might not be the best scenario for him as they go on top of him. The wall stun hits, and that might very well be the end as the flag and drag, a complete stun look, takes down the top laner for Barrage. And they looked so incredibly dominant in the first game, but dare I say, following the script here thus far, looking for Org, looking really good in game number 2. Are we going to go to game 3 after all, Sin?
Please, no.
It's prematurely,
yeah,
but it's definitely a possibility.
But the full 1-on-1 Galio, this tanky boy in the bot lane, has been keeping Harry safe so effectively to the point where later in the game he might be able to do that with the rest of his team. He might be able to keep Treleep a lot safer. He'll be able to get Kisuke to the point where the double AD carries come online and can shred through any member that overextends. We talked about this already, Barrage. Overextending is their weakness of their comp. If they have to go so hard in to get any kills, that if it goes even slightly wrong, it falls apart.
And I would not mind a little bit of a tankier build. I see the ninja type as well. Not a full AP build from Artorias, but
yeah,
maybe an Abyssal Mask and then more tanky so that he can be that main initiator.
I would hope, but all the same, going for the Protobelt first speaks to more of a damage-heavy build.
Just go hybrid. I want him to be able to engage.
When you say go hybrid, the thing I think is AD Nautilus? What?
No.
Rage Blade? Is that Rage Blade next item? You use your W on hit to shred through Poppy?
That sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, I would love it.
I know somebody that if he's listening is going to do that now.
I would absolutely love it. So don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's the best way to play in a really important game at Forge of Champions, where you want to make sure that for Barrage, they want to get the first 2-0 victory here at Forge. As Jakamaka, he's off on his own, has the Featherstorm available, and a little bit of a trap is being set up, but the ward in the brush will spot Treleep if he goes over. With Fittle also there, it's always risky trying to dive a Xayah or Khan bot lane, especially with Scudzy in his way. He hasn't been spotted yet. Harry and Ollie, they're pushing in the wave. There's no more plates available, but Treleep, he decides to batter of it after all, but look at this trap being set up. There's Treleep. Is he going to go for the flag and drag out? The blast can also available, and that is Fittle in a little bit of an awkward spot, but he's able to bounce back. Scudzy does not get hit by the flag and drag as Kisuke comes in, but doesn't actually find anyone and has to take package Valkyrie out of there. Scudzy just immediately gunning back to go clearing his own jungle, but that ward, that's a little bit of a risk as Kama gets a lot of chip damage on top of Kisuke. The bot lane fight not leading to anything as both teams just kind of posturing, seeing if they can find someone out of position, but there's no one there, and the action, we still got to wait for a little bit longer, but there is the tunnel, gets interrupted by Treleep, who, if he got his flag and drag interrupted, it might have been in a bit of a pickle, but instead he gets out, and once again, looking for Org. They're making the moves, they're making the proactive plays, and they're not falling behind like last game.
They're looking far better now with their full roster. At full strength, finally, because I believe they had to play without Ollie in the qualifier stage, and they lost to Brotherhood, so still looking a lot stronger now they are at full strength, and being able to actually contest with Barrage. This is exactly what we wanted to see, though. We wanted to see them show up and be able to just compete with these UKLC teams, and it was hard to judge them off of that last game, like we said, when the early game went so horribly wrong, when they did have a sub, but now they are looking like a competitive team. They're controlling the map, they're denying the plays, and they're staying decently relevant in terms of CS in every lane.
They definitely are, and 2k goal advantage for Looking for Orc at 16 minutes isn't really enough to call them a definite favourites, although with their composition and the scaling it provides, it's going to be a scary proposition for Barrage, but they have a lot of tools for themselves. Although the Rek'Sai isn't doing too great. Jakamaka, we talked about how he can be that big carry, and Artorias here looking like he's building towards a Zhonya's next, so a little bit of a mix between tanky and AP. At least he's going to have a lot more survivability, but if his turret is going to fall here, it'll be really unfortunate. The first turret blood has not fallen as of yet, but Baloo, gotta say, needs to be a little bit careful himself as well, because he's getting low on mana. Scudzy tries to hold the bot lane turret. Jakamaka finds his way over there as well, and continuously the pressure from Looking for Orc. Now, last time was Barrage that was able to put the pedal to the metal and keep the continuous push going, but this time it's Looking for Orc, and Triforce now hits, Sork Pen boots, and Kasuke, he's looking mighty comfortable in this matchup.
And so now with the 2k gold difference, it's just still slowed all the way down. Barrage are trying to get some control back into it so they can make plays again, not let it slip away from them, as they are still looking to get that first tower. They have had the pressure on that bot lane tower all game long, and now they want to reap the rewards.
Oh, first turret, but would actually be insane if Barrage are able to pick that up. Would make a lot of that gold deficit disappear, and there we go. They are able to find that. Kasuke now has no mana, and really needs to respect the damage from Kaimon. This might be the Mountain Drake, and Barrage, they're showing, even though we're down in goal with behind a couple of kills, we're not giving up just yet. The Rift Tower also getting planted down in mid lane. Even more pressure coming out from Barrage, and the continuous pressure from LFO finally relenting.
This is what they needed. This is the energy we needed back in the game from Barrage.
There's the Cataclysmal Flag, and Drake doesn't hit anyone, and that was really over-enthusiastic. Trulip, he was waiting for the hero's entrance, but that doesn't find anyone. And while all of that was going on, Shelly somehow sneaks away into a second charge, and a big win for Barrage there.
Now, the first tower goes down in bot lane, second tower quickly follows. This might be the opening they need to accelerate this game in their own favor. They spent a while... Oh,
there we
stolen.
go. Scumbag Kasuke not having any of it. Scudzy doesn't want to go for the smite, and a nice steal there for the Corki.
And they spent a while building these windows of opportunity to get back in the game, and now they have opened the window. They're climbing in and they're breaking through these towers, looking for now the third tower of the game in the top side of the map as well, back to back to back.
Sin, they were almost losing their first tower. They were continuously getting pushed in, and now, yes, the bot lane tower finally falls, but the gold lead from Looking for Orc is nowhere to be found.
This is the rotational strength we saw last game from Barrage. They moved from lane to lane to lane, and there isn't a quick enough response from the side of Looking for Orc. They're trying to get this mid lane tower now, with only 1 minion left. That was close.
Still so much upfront damage. Trulip, even though he's going for a tanky build combined with Kasuke, can shred through those turrets in a matter of seconds. As the Baron is about to spawn, that's an early objective, and the Mountain Dragon might help out there a little bit, and we haven't seen a single 5v5 team fight yet, where Artorias is also in the fight, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, because that Nautilus, his team fights, is really where he shines, where he's able to just slow everyone, do a lot of AoE damage, and make sure that the key targets get locked down. And if someone like Kasuke gets hit this early in the game by a depth charge or a dredge line, I don't know if he can stay alive. And Looking for Orc, they still have the lead, but they're starting to lose a little bit of the tempo, and the experience also from Barrage starting to shine through here.
And it's the fact that a lot of this gold, you look at the 7 kills to 4, but look at where those kills are. It's on Ollie, it's on that Galio bot lane, and it's not really on the carries you want it to be on. With double AD carry, you look at the other side, Jakamaka has 3 kills for himself. He's got a CS lead, a big one at that. This is where you need the gold for Barrage. And now, because they have all that gold on the ADC, they can put it into trying to take this Baron.
And they shred it so incredibly fast. And looking for Orc, not responding to it right now. There comes the Void Seeker. They don't know this is happening.
Oh, Treleep's zoned off.
Zone, and they can't get onto him yet. Artorias, there is Treleep already gone, so there's no use for a smite steal. But the jungler gets knocked away. Scudzy needs to make his way back into the pit. And in the end, the smite does go down at only 200 health. Poppy gets blown up. And somehow, a double kill for Artorias. And looking for Orc, a crucial moment of weakness there. They don't respect the Baron taking power of Barrage, and now all of a sudden it's the UKLC team that's back in the driver's seat.
And Baloo, he tries to make the hero play, knock him out of the pit, but Scudzy, he uses those tunnels to get right back in. That's going to be the Baron going over to Barrage. They have to look to open up this game pretty quickly, though. We talked about the scaling. We talked about the potential of looking for Orc. If the game goes long, Barrage can't let that happen.
Especially with the static shift now finished on Kasuka, and I'm going to be looking at him in the next team fight where if he can come up big, if he can stay away from someone like Artorias to get on top of him as Scudzy, as he moves forward into the enemy jungle, he does get out, but that was, I do not...
A little bit of a ballsy move all the same.
That was a scary play right there, Kasuke. Just hyping you up and then trying to make the caster's curse become a reality is... The entirety Barrage now moving into the bot side jungle. Treleep goes for the gates once again. We saw last time how Vesti operates, but this time he does find the stopwatch. There's the charm coming through, but that's not enough damage here as of yet. But now Scudzy starts going down. Don't forget, this is a Baron team. But that recall there, the feathers make it work. A flag and drag on top of Jakamaka. Artorias is still alive. So is Baloo. Harry now finally coming in the team fight. He gets locked down by Artorias and he gets blown up while Artorias somehow gets away with his life. The final empowered auto attack from Baloo is going to be enough, but it looks so bad that for Barrage they're able to make it work in the very end, as Grimal is probably going to be able to pick it up, but no! He stays alive no matter what. I say that, but the blast cone, if we see a greedy back here from Baloo, maybe in the end, Jakamaka stayed alive throughout all of that, and that is absolutely key.
Now Barrage, they're trying to take down the space, they're trying to open it up. They've found a couple fights in a row, but they need to push more of an advantage off the back of this. If they can break the base off of this Baron buff, that's where they can get in control. That's where they can deny access to the entire jungle. They can get vision all around the map and take over. But for now, unfortunately, they've been forced to reset because of that fight. They're being forced to give up so much time on this Baron buff. Now, it's likely to be the end of this, but 3k gold lead. They've got a decent amount of gold on the right carries as well. They need maybe one more fight and they can open the base.
I think so as well, as Kasuka goes for the topside scuttle. Just want to make sure that that's denied to Barrage, and the continuous pressure from Looking Fork in the early game was looking incredibly well. And let's take another look at the team fight. Treleep, he doesn't get blown up, but the Hero's Entrance only hits a single push. And look at the positioning from Jakamaka here. Baloo, not being able to find him. In the end, he does get stunned, but Kasuke...
It's just the fact that he stuns him against the wall, but Jakamaka still gets the ult off. Recall through 2 targets, shredding them to pieces. And then Krumel on the backside is there to help them clean up as well. They try and hunt down Treleep. Now they're just going to siege up mid. They've got the last of this Baron buff, just 10 seconds left. Can they get this cannon to break open the base tower in time?
Want to try and go for it in a 5v5 scenario. I'm still mighty scared of Barrage. A lot of poke damage coming through. Artorias goes for the depth charge on top of Ollie, but they need to be careful as they don't seem to be finding Kasuka or Harry just yet. And in the end, Barrage, they use the depth charge there, but they can't make it through, and that is the end of that Baron buff. Still a lead for Barrage, but they can't turn the game around just yet, and Looking for Orc are still very much in this game.
Yeah, they're still not giving up. They're still holding on to some control, and now they're going to push out of their base. They're not giving up the jungle this easily. They're forcing Scudzy back.
There we go. It's a little bit scared for him. If Baloo was able to hit that wall bash there, might have seen the end of the creepy Void Lady, but fortunately for him, he's able to get out. The Baron about to spawn in minute and 40 seconds, and now 25 minutes into the game. We've seen the lead for Looking for Orc for the biggest part, but now it's Barrage who, after a sneaky Baron, are able to make it work, and we see a cheeky invader from Looking for Orc. They know that the Baron is coming up. They know that vision needs to be secured.
What I'm looking at right now is the 80 carry item difference. Look at Jakamaka here, 3.5 items, boots completed into just the 2 from Harry. And Unfortunately, Harry just doesn't do any damage compared to Jakamaka right now. The rest of the team is there supplementing with damage as well. You can see that Nautilus has the Zhonya's, has the Protobelt, and building towards Abyssal Mask. There's so much damage.
This is really big. Harry's forced to flash, and they don't let up. Claymore picks the kill, and that's going to be the mid lane getting broken open. It's a 4 vs 5, and absolutely key member, and Harry can't afford to lose your AD carry at this point in time. They still have Kasuke available. He
gets caught out.
But it's got to be a hero play, and then its inhibitor is doomed to fall as Barrage. They smell a moment of weakness. Flash forward.
Now 45 seconds until Baron spawns. Harry's still not up on the map, and the inhibitor just taken. They're going to get back onto the map, rush towards this Baron, and then try and capitalize on it. And as well, at the same time, I love what Artorias is doing. He's pushing the bot lane. He's going and taking those minions to force people to respond, or he's just going to get a tower on the backside.
And the teleport available for him, so if that teamfight breaks out, he can go for it. Scotsy getting knocked back there, and there's a lot of engaged potential here. He is able to flash away, but the wallbang will get him. They try to go for him, and the flash in the end. Keeper's verdict takes down the jungler from Barrage, but there comes Artorias in with the teleport, and a flank getting set up here by Barrage. They get on top of them. Claymore's 1v1 in Kasuke, the hero's entrance, and this might be an absolute terrible fight, but Harry goes in way too deep, gets sacked immediately. The AoE damage, a beautiful taunt from Oli. Jakamaka is getting taken down by Baloo, and they do find the kill. Oli goes down, Kaimo's alive, and Jakamaka, how did you do that?
He stays alive throughout the fight. Krumel is still strong, and they can force these super minions up mid. There are still 40-second death timers on Kasuke and Baloo, with Treleep likely to go down soon as well.
And Kaimo is looking for the hero plays, looking for the snipe, but that's not going to be it. Going to be looking for a 2-man Baron here, and in the end, I don't know how Barrage was able to turn it around, because don't forget Scudzy blown up at the beginning of that fight, and it speaks to the team fight prowess of Barrage that somehow they win that fight regardless.
There was 3 people stacked on top of each other for that entire fight. Krumel walks up and goes, oh, I have an ability that's exactly that size that I can throw there. Ults on top of all of them, W's on top of all of them. And he gets so much damage down in that fight that it turns it, and Jakamaka somehow stays alive in spite of everybody diving on top of him.
Because I was absolutely certain that with Baloo on top of him, that was going to be the end of it, as we once again see the inhibitor going down earlier on. And you got to imagine, as we quickly skip through this team fight, it's, again, incredible how they're able to make that work. It looks like, after all, you know, it's been a long day production. They like to have a giggle every now and then. And we also like to have a giggle as Artorias, and he gets tagged down. But Harry, again, he's getting taken down at the beginning of every single fight.
There he goes.
There he goes. Kasuke's still alive. Scudsy trying to 1v1 him, but Jakamaka is not touched anywhere. And Kasuke is the one who stays alive. Artorias kind of left alone by the rest of his team. But Oli and Baloo, they don't have nearly enough damage to take down the Nautilus.
Who needs tank Nautilus?
Goes the Poppy. Who needs tank Nautilus? Just get AP and skill up that shield.
And he ends up paying dividends as they TP into the base. Krumel has the super minions here. They can get through this. They can push this into the base. And there's so many people dead. Ollie is still alive.
Look at
Kasuke is still alive. They have to do something here.
And there's no wave right now, so they're gonna catch the top wave instead, as the super minion wave is making its way down the middle. The Baron is, of course, taken out by Barrage, and that means that every single wave that they can get is gonna put on so much hurt. But Harry now back, and that means that looking for Orc are gonna hold on for just a little bit longer, as Barrage don't want to take the risk and instead back off. And let's take a look at the team fight here.
Yeah, you can see that everybody's stacked on top of each other, that this taunt lands, big taunt from Galio coming up here. But every single member of Looking for Org stacked right on top of each other in the Chaos Storm.
The Chaos Storm. Oh, and look at Jakamaka being able to stay alive there.
The kite back keeps him alive, as well as the Triumph procs from people dying on the other side of the fight that he assisted in. And even though it's a long chase down, it ends up being a huge fight win for Barrage.
And these 5v5s, when you start to lose those for Looking for Org, it's getting increasingly dicey, as Jakamaka is just so fed right now. And if you can't get to him, you're never winning any of this fight. But Grimal, we haven't really talked about him as much, but he's basically doing an insane amount of damage. Has the Void Stuff finished now as well. 2 stopwatches for Artorias and Scudsy. And the 2 inhibitors are down. A final 1 to go. And it looks like Barrage might turn the curse around here. Are we not going to see a game number 3, Sin?
Ends up being 6-1-6 for him. He's so strong, and he's just allowing them to siege up so effectively by putting down this gravity field. Suddenly, no one can walk through. It's so hard to get on top of this minion wave.
And the cannon minion, as a Baron cannon minion, there we go, is going to be able to finish the job on its own, making sure that Barrage can keep on pushing. 20 seconds left on the Baron buff here. 2 super minion waves spawning, although the mid lane inhibitor is about to get back up. So if Barrage want to rotate to that afterwards, might not be a bad idea at all. 2 cannons now starting to hit the turret, but there's a lot of wave clear available. And we now see, look at those items from Kensuke. If he can stay alive in this team fight, maybe we can see a miracle orb. But it's all or nothing for looking for. Their Forge of Champions life is on the line here. And Barrage, they're just waiting for yet another wave, as they know that the top lane supers eventually are going to draw enough attention. But instead, once again, want to take it slow, want to play it safe.
They can escort this mid wave in, break the inhibitor, then go back to bot wave again once the wave is pushed deep. Or they just don't need to overforce.
But instead, going to go for the extra safe option.
Well, just go for a Cloud Dragon and recall and extend the game. This
sounds disapproving.
I want to see them go hard and deep here. I want to see them go and try and get right into the face of looking for Org, try and force them off of the map.
And they were able to do it the first game. 7k gold advantage now from a 2k gold deficit in the early game. Barrage really showing their prowess, really showing the amount of synergy that they have. And the 5v5 has been absolutely devastating here. And looking for Org. Can they hold here? Can they somehow make it through, win a 5v5, and get Barrage to a third game? The inhibitor.
Harry gets ulted.
That's going to be forfeit. Harry gets ulted, but there's no follow-up. And it's just the inhibitor, at least for now. Now, 2 inhibitors are down, 2 waves of super means, but now you're only a minute away from Baron. Why would you take the risk? Let's just take it slow, wait for that, and then go for one final push. It's what Barrage is probably saying in their comms right now.
Yeah, they're just slowing it down, not taking any risks. 7-1-6 Jackamaka, 6-1-6 Criminal. They know they have the advantages already. They don't need to overforce. And with Harry ineffectual in every single fight, they just need to stop him from getting any gold income.
And it's not only that, but Kensuke, he's really strong. He's doing a lot of damage, but he hasn't been able to really find the damage and clean up the fights like we wanted to see him do. But look at how fast he shreds through these waves. Now, Fiddle, Jackamaka, we know what they can do, and they're looking for an engagement. Trilip walks close, takes a little bit of poke, but it's not enough as of yet, as they are actually going to contest the Baron. And the mid wave is easily pushed back, but the same can't be said for the top wave, and eventually looking for Org is going to have to send someone to deal with that. With the Mountain Dragon, we saw how fast Barrage were able to do it, the Baron earlier on, and this is going to spawn in 10 seconds. I gotta imagine that they want to go for that again.
It's a... Oh, catching out Trilip perhaps.
And Trilip gets blown up before the fight is good and well began. It's a 5v4 right from the get-go. Ollie tries to go in for a big play. Beautiful keepers Ferning, knocking away 2 big members for Barrage. But even that is not nearly enough as Kraimor's still there. And yes, the Guardian Angel gets procced by Scudzy, but this might very well be the end of the game. Kensuke flashes away. He's still alive and tries to make a way, but Kraimor, he flashes after him. The Dutch Menace tries to go for the kill. Does not find it as of yet. Kensuke stays alive for so long. Has the stopwatch available as well. That has got to be the end of it. And with just Harry available, with no health, it's finally going to be a 2-0. Barrage take the victory over looking for Org, and we see another UKLC team make it through to the next round of Forge of Champions.
But with a much stronger early game from looking for Org, with a much stronger performance, you have to say, it didn't matter because Barrage, they get to the phase of the game where they can start making map rotations, and those rotations are far too strong for looking for Org to deal with. They took 3 towers in one fell swoop before looking for Org could even get 1. It was a really smart map movements that looking for Org just wasn't prepared for, and Barrage, they got their members fed, they played it out methodically, and they close it out 2-0.
And first 2-0, we've seen already so many games in Forge of Champions. And now, Barrage, the first UKLC team to make this work and say, no, we're going to go for the straight victory. And
they go on to face Eminem next.
And that's going to be an exciting match because Barrage were really looking on form here. And of course, the other matchup is going to be threatening as well as the open team hybrid is going to take on Excel. And perhaps we can take a look at the bracket momentarily to see which games we're going to be getting into tomorrow and the rest of the week. But Sin, you got to give it up for Barrage here because when I saw that early game, I thought we're going to go to game 3 once again.
Yeah, I thought so too, but Barrage, they turned it on, they closed it out, and I gotta say, I'm excited for Monk versus Jakamaka tomorrow. That sounds like a really hype matchup.
It does, and M&M also, we haven't seen it play in a long while, and that can only be an advantage because they have the opportunity to scout out Barrage, but it can also be a disadvantage as you're playing against a team that is already warmed up, that's really in the heat of things.
Yeah.
While you, as a team, hasn't done anything since UKLC ended.
It can be difficult to try and come in after that break, but you've had the scouting reports, you've been playing in solo queue the entire time, you've been playing in scrims, so it's just a case of bringing everything you've been practicing to the stage, hoping you can execute on it in the big games.
And like I said, I gotta say, looking for Org here, imagine if they had Kasuke in both of those games, because even though they were looking shaky, it would have been a completely different series, I feel like, but early on in the first game, they fell behind they fell so far behind so early on. There was nothing for them to be done. And if Kasuke was there the first game, you saw how well he performed in the core key. I don't know what would have happened. And we will never know.
It's just a strong performance from him. I'd like to have seen another, but unfortunately, them's the breaks. Only gets one game here.
That's how it goes. You know, if you're unable to make the first game, unfortunately, you can't always count on the Forge of Champion curse. Has finally been broken, and maybe we're just going to see 2-0s from now on. That would be something else entirely.
That would be a turn, yeah.
And the MVP is going to surprise absolutely no one. It's the bot laner for Barrage. It's Jakamaka.
Yeah,
and
strong performance all series long.
His
KD of 30. He just seemed unkillable
30?
on the Xayah. He just seemed unkillable come those later game team fights, and no matter how much they threw at him, he was still somehow surviving.
A single death in 2 games. And the first game, you can say, well, you know, it's only one side, but the second game, a lot of action, a lot of team fighting. They were behind early on, and yet 1 death in the entire series.
Really, really impressive performance.
Gotta imagine that is some impressive play right there. And as you say, that also means that going into the games tomorrow, Barrage has got to be on a little bit of a high, being able to win so decisively. And
I've got to be excited for, as we said, Jakamaka versus Monk. Monk has been one of the best AD carries in the UK scene, has been the guy that they can throw 1v9 resources at, and it started with him and Yusa. They build these Ivern comps around and hope they could 1v9, and now it's going to be that level of ADC going up against Jakamaka, and if he's on the form of today, I think it's a close contest.
Gotta agree with you there, and I also feel like just in general the team fighting was really good. Let's take a look at the bracket here as we're going to see what we're gonna have in front of us, as tomorrow is going to be the second part of the lower bracket as XL take on Hybrid Esports, and as we've already been talking about, M&M Gaming is going to take on Barrage, and the winner of those are going to take on each other to face Diabolus or Feeling Gaming. And I gotta say, with how good Feeling we're looking, and Diabolus having a hard time against Darkspawn, who are currently facing relegations, that's got to be some exciting series as well. And in the variant, of course, is the big bad waiting, Fnatic Rising, top 4 spot at EUM, and that's got to be scary to face.
Yeah, top of the tower. They stepped up more and more come the end of UKLC. Really strong team. I'd be excited to see who proves themselves strong enough to face them.
And on that note, we're going to end this beautiful day of Forge of Champions. Don't worry, we're going to be back tomorrow with, like we said, a really hype matchup. XL taking on the open team, Hybrid Esports, and M&M taking on Barrage. We'll see you all tomorrow.